Homemade Simple. If we've not met before, I'm Lori. I'm really glad you're here today. It is the end of May, so it's time for our May budget review and a little bit of a family update. So I'm really excited to share all of the info I have compiled about our family's budget this month with you. So let's get started. I think a lot of you are new here since April's budget. That was sort of a bigger video for the channel, and a lot of you have become subscribers. So thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for coming back to the channel for this month's budget review, and I hope that you will feel welcome here. I really enjoy the growing community of people that we have here on Homemade Simple, and it really means a lot to me for you to be here. So thank you to all of the new subscribers. This is going to sort of just be a simple sit down video. I wanted to make it a little better than that, but time sort of got away from me. So we're just gonna have to have a sit down discussion about my family's budget this month, and maybe next time we can do something a little more fun and enjoyable to watch. So our financial situation was better this month as opposed to last month. We had some catastrophic things happen in April, and it really was a big discouragement to me mentally and emotionally, but I'm better. I am feeling better about our finances. I really like that about life in general, that even though something difficult can happen to you and it can really feel like hard to overcome, a little bit of time and reflection will give you an opportunity to see that nothing is as bad as it seems on the face of it, and there's always going to be an answer and a solution. And especially if you have a good partner, if you're married and you have a really good relationship with your spouse, I think that that really helps. And also if you have just a supportive family unit, those kinds of things that might knock us down will be short-lived, and we will see the light at the end of the tunnel a lot quicker than maybe we would if we were really discouraged by something and didn't have a good support system. So I'm very grateful for the people that I have in my life that surrounds me with encouragement, and I feel better about things financially. And we didn't really have anything catastrophic happen this month, which was good. Now, we did have some big things happen. Kelsey graduated from high school this month. That's a really big thing. She did really well. She graduated with all A's. She has a really good future ahead of her. I'm really proud of who she is and who she's becoming. She has a lot of strengths, and her character is one of the greatest strengths, which to me is much more valuable than anything else that you could have. And so I'm really looking forward to watching her grow and develop. Kendall finished her first year of teaching. She had worked at a preschool, and y'all may have noticed that Lane went to preschool. He was in her class, which was probably the only reason that I felt good about sending him and not like paranoid that something bad was going to happen. But that's just because I'm too overprotective sometimes. But anyway, she was a really good fit for the little 2 and 3 year olds that she taught this year. I know that she was a blessing to them, and it made me really proud as a mom for her to begin something and finish it, and to really have found something that she excelled in. She's got several babysitting jobs during the summer, so she's going to stay busy but still be around the house, and I'm really glad about that. Lane finished preschool in May, and so I'm glad to have him back home all the time. I really did miss him while he was not here, but it was good for him, and I know that those of you who have been here for a while have really been able to see his speech development. That was why we put him in a preschool environment, was because he doesn't have any kids around his age to sort of help improve his speech. And so he did really well with that environment, and he is doing so good. He's singing all the time, he's talking all the time, and his understandability, I'm sure there's a technical word for that, but us being able to understand and communicate better with him has really improved, and so I've been really glad about that. We did have some really bad weather this past weekend. It was actually Memorial Day on Monday. The National Weather Service has determined that a tornado came through our community. So we did have some damage from that. Fortunately, no animals were lost. One of the trees that fell did go straight through the entire goat pen. So I'm really glad that they were not locked up in there. I had been letting them graze and just sort of wander around. They're not goats that will run away, so they're more just like yard dogs that will stay in your yard. So I feel comfortable letting them out and roam and find different grazing spots. So fortunately they weren't in their pen. Had they been in the pen, I'm sure at least the little ones would have been killed by the falling tree, because it's a huge pine tree. So that happened. We have several other trees down on our fence, and in our front yard there's a huge tree down. So we've got some work to do clearing that up. Fortunately, it's not any kind of like major emergency, and so Chris can just sort of add it to our list of things to do without having to stop any other thing that he needs to have done and go and fix something because it's like an emergency. Just about last month's sort of epic, disastrous financial crisis for our house. A little bit of an update. So we are just planning on trying to fix Kelsey's car. They told us that it needed a new engine, and Chris has done extensive research to try to figure out what's going on, and he really feels confident that he can break down the engine and just repair the parts that are broken and put it back together, and that for maybe $500 or $700 it can be fixed and good as new. So hopefully that will be completed in June. He's got like a list a mile long, and I feel really bad about that, but there's just some things that I can help him with and some things that I can't, and tearing down an engine is just not one of my strong points. But I'm really glad that he is able to do those kinds of things, and it makes me thankful that we don't always have to pay somebody else to resolve an issue or to repair a problem, but he's pretty good at self-diagnosing things and then figuring out how to fix them. So I have all the confidence that he is going to be able to fix the car, and I really hope that by the end of June that chapter can be closed and never to be opened again. That's what I hope. It's not looking too good right now, but hopefully it will be all ready to go very soon, and Kelsey will have her car back, and it won't cost an arm and a leg. Okay, now let's talk about all of the details of May's budget. First of all, we can talk about our food budget. In May, we spent $736.43 on food items for our family. We did have a lot of like little purchases, and nowadays, like if you go to the grocery store because you forgot something or you ran out of something and you just need this one thing, you normally can't get out of the grocery store for less than $20. That happened a lot. So that could have been avoided, and I think that maybe I can get a handle on that, and maybe we can do better on that in June. But we do have a lot of the food from our most recent grocery trip. That's actually the video that you saw last week. I'll link it here in case you didn't see it. But a lot of that food is still ready for us to eat. It's still here. It's in the freezer or the fridge or in the pantry. So we're starting off June in a really good place. I also cleaned out my pantry, which showed me that I did have a lot of food that I had forgotten about. So I sort of have made myself a little running list of things that I normally keep in the pantry. I'm going to try to redo that and make it a little bit nicer, but for now it's good enough. And so now I can have sort of a running list of what I know is there, and then every time I run out of an item, circle it. I'll put it on my grocery list when it's time to go to the store, and then I won't keep over purchasing the same items. But as far as May, I did spend a good bit, but we do still have a good bit, so I think that will mean good things for June. I'm feeling good about it. I'm not upset about it. I mean, $736, that's not terrible for a family of 5. It could be better, but it could definitely be a lot worse. One thing I think I'm going to change in June is I think I'm going to go to a cash envelope system for my groceries. And I think the reason that I need to do that is just really personality based, not necessarily like this is the best way for everybody. But I find that with me, it's sort of like whenever money goes into that account, we have set aside a certain account for purchases for these purchases that I tell y'all about each month. So for food, animals, and household, all of that money goes directly from Chris's paycheck into this account, and that's the money that I use to spend for our food and our other expenses. And I think what happens is it's sort of like, oh yay, the money is in there, let's go and buy this thing that I have been wanting to buy but haven't had the money for it. Or let's go to the thrift store because the money came in today. And then I'm sort of using the food money as spending money when it really isn't supposed to be used that way. And so I think that I need a very visual reminder of how much money I have left in each category in order for me to be a better manager of our resources. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just try it in June. It's inconvenient because it's not linked to like a local bank. I have to go into a drugstore or a convenience store, and I don't know why they call it convenience stores, because for a mom with a kid in a car seat, it's very inconvenient. But anyway, I'm gonna just try it. I think it'll really help me. I think it'll help me to better be able to manage that money and spend it more wisely, and also be able to save it up for having like a stockpile. That's what I want. I want to have like a grocery budget stockpile, but I've not been able to do that this year at all. So hopefully in June, at the end of June, I'll be able to tell you I have discovered the answer to all of our budgeting problems. Okay, animal feed. I think I did pretty good on animal expenses. It was $243.63. That definitely was better in relation to other months because I didn't buy any hay at all for the animals, the cow or the goats, in May. So that's a really big change, because a bale of hay is $9 and we were going through a lot. So it would be like 2 or 3 a week if I was really rationing it. They've been on the grass. They've been eating the grass that we have here, which is really good. It's good for our soil. It's good for the animals. It's good for the budget. It's a total win-win. The bad thing about the tornado coming through is several trees are on our pasture fence, and I had been putting Winnie out on the pasture, but now she's not able to do that because she can get out, and she will get out if she can. She's sort of known to pop up at the neighbors' houses every now and then. So I have to keep a good eye on her because she will wander. And so I can't use the pasture right now. That's pretty disappointing. but we'll get that fixed whenever we can. And until then, she can eat on the backyard grass, and there's plenty of that. So I did have to buy the feed, especially for when I'm milking her. And then also that dogs, I had to buy their feed on top of I needed some flea medicine. We have a serious flea problem. Chris has sprayed some kind of, I don't know what, on the grass to try to kill the fleas. And I've tried different products for the dogs. Nothing has worked, but I finally just bought the expensive, well, I even bought the expensive flea collar a couple months ago, or maybe, yeah, a couple months ago. And it's supposed to last 8 months, but it wasn't working. So I got some pills, and that has worked. So hopefully, we're playing cars. So hopefully the flea problem is taken care of, and that was $40 well spent. I do think that although I hate to do it, I think this is the time when I need to go ahead and dry Winnie off. So I will be able to feed her less if she's not milking. She'll be able to grow good and healthy just on the regular grass that we have at our house, instead of me having to buy a lot of the 50-pound bags of feed that I normally buy her. That normally is fed to her while I'm milking, just to keep her still. Jersey cows don't really need grain, but it just helps her to have a little bit extra calories and also to be still while I'm milking. I think it's time for me to dry her off. We are going to be gone for several weeks in the summer, for a summer camp, and then Kelsey's graduation trip is coming up. So I think it's really, even though it disappoints me to think that she's not going to have milk anymore for a while, I think it's bad when your GoPro turns off because it's gotten too hot, because your long-winded video is way too long. But I think what I was saying is I think I'm just going to dry her up, and then I won't have to milk. My mom was telling me she thought I needed to sort of get rid of something in my schedule. So maybe that's sort of a nod to my mom that I really do listen and take her advice. I don't mind asking people to feed my animals, but the milking thing is just really a lot of extra work and a lot of extra effort, and I don't really want to ask them to do that. So that will save a little bit on the animal feed as well. There's always going to be some kind of expense coming up, and when you have animals, it's just going to cost money, but maybe I can really work on that in June after I dry her off and we don't have to have such a big feed bill. And then our last category is the household and personal items category. That was pretty high this month, $134.24. We have had a little bit, one of the kids have had a little bit of some skin issues. We've had to go to the dermatologist, and we've been exploring different options to try to find out what they need in order to get it resolved. We did find the products that they needed in order to get that cleared up, so that's really good. I don't mind at all spending that kind of money, and it's really good when you can find good, clean ingredients in a product that helps your kids. I'm really happy for that. So that's the reason that category was a good bit higher than it normally is. But definitely money well spent, and that kind of stuff will last for quite a while, so we won't have a repeat of that in June. So I'm feeling really good about the June budget. I feel fine about May. It was better emotionally than April. We didn't have anything. We were just sort of status quo this month, which is good. And then I think June is going to be a really good budget month, so I'm looking forward to that. I have some plans in place. I think that I can make some headway in building up a little bit of extra funds for our sort of grocery budget surplus, and that will be good as well. I wanted to have a little bit of a Q&A section in this video, and so I asked you if you had any questions, and several of y'all came up with some really good questions that I thought would be really helpful to all of us to just sort of talk about. First of all, y'all know this, but I'm just going to say it because sometimes there's new people and they don't necessarily know how I roll or how I feel about things. But I am not an expert on anything. I don't know all there is to know about budgeting, about living frugally, about living on a budget. So whenever you ask me a question and I answer it, I'm not saying that it's because this is the best way to do it in all circumstances, and I'm not saying that this is what I do. I want to do the right thing, and I want to do the wisest thing with our money, but that doesn't mean that I do. Sometimes I go off the rails, and sometimes I make mistakes. And so all of that being said, I thought you had some really good questions that I did want to go over. So the first question is, you said you're still struggling with meal planning and sticking to a budget, and I 100% wholeheartedly agree with that. I am right beside you. So I don't really have any life advice about that, except to say that it really is good and important for us to have a meal plan and to work out our meal plan. So maybe it's better to have like an overall meal plan and not specifically for today at supper we're going to have this, and then tomorrow we're going to have this. Maybe it's better just to have like a list of 7 dinners, and then you get to choose based on how your day is looking which one you're going to choose for each particular day of the week. I've also had somebody comment something that I thought was really good advice, and that is that by 10 o'clock they have their dinner already worked on and planned out, and they already have it in the works by 10 o'clock in the morning. I think that is a really good piece of advice that will really help if I was to follow that advice on a regular basis. It would almost completely eliminate any kind of last minute, I'm so stressed and worn out, so we're just going to have sandwiches, or even worse on the budget, we're just going to go out to eat. So having a meal plan is really important, and it's really good to have that meal plan in place. But being a little bit fluid in it, I think, is good for somebody like me that is a little less rigid on a schedule and a little more seat of her pants kind of person. So you know who you are, you know your personality better, but that in conjunction with the cash envelope system that I'm going to try in June, I think will really help us go a long way in sticking to our food budget and sticking to our meal plan. Another question that one of you said was, do we keep the food and household items in separate categories? And I don't currently do that. Like I said a minute ago, all of the money for these 3 categories of our budget goes into one account, and I have a debit card linked to that account, and so I just use it on whatever we need, and then it's replenished every 2 weeks when Chris gets paid. So that is why I think the cash envelope system is going to really help me, is because I can say, okay, $75 for household goods should be enough. There's not any kind of emergency, something going on this month, like there's no medical need or anything like that. So $75 for household, and then if I can get the animals down to $150, maybe I can start with $200 a week, and then be able to put some of that surplus that I don't use up to the side. I think that would really help me, having everything separated. My daughter Kendall asked a question. I think she was just trying to be nice and encouraging, so she chimed in to the question and answer comment. And she asked about some good, fun family activities to do on a budget. Now, she and her boyfriend are looking for their future and making plans for their future, and so maybe that's the reason that she asked that question. But I would really love to hear y'all's answer on that. I think that that would be such a good conversation down in the comments. What is your go-to, or maybe your 2 or 3 favorite family activities that you can do either for free or for very little money? So like for $20 or less, your whole family can go and do this fun thing. What is your fun thing? I would love to hear about all of that, and I think that that would really help her as well. And then our last question was one that I thought was really good and really relevant. And I'm just going to read you what she said because I liked the way she worded her question. She said, self-care or shopping? I am a Christian and have mostly conservative values. I try to be frugal, but I do like getting my hair and nails done. And I think she was sort of, in that question, the way I read it, she's saying, is it okay for me to do some things that I like to do, like go shopping or get my nails done or get my hair done? Is it okay, or is that sort of not being frugal with my money? And I think if we polled 100 different people, we would get 100 different answers about specifically, is this frugal to do this particular activity or not? But what I really think is important for all of us is that we have a good routine of doing the things that we enjoy doing. I don't really think that we get any extra points for being a total penny pincher in life and not doing the things that we enjoy doing. And I don't think that you get extra points in life for being miserable. So I really feel strongly about being wise with your money, but I also feel like it's not unwise to do enjoyable things with your money. I think it's a really good use of your money to have some set aside to be able to do the things that you enjoy doing. For example, for me, I don't want to get my nails done. I like to dig my fingers in the dirt. My fingers are dirty right now because I planted my plants today in the garden. But it's really important to my mom to have her nails done. And it's really important to her to go and get her hair done on a regular basis. And I think that's really good. There's no problem with that whatsoever. But getting my nails done isn't enjoyable to me. It sort of is like, wow, now I can't dig in the dirt. But what is enjoyable to me is going to the thrift store. And so if I was to have to go my entire life never spending any kind of recreational money at the thrift store or estate sales or yard sales, that would really be disappointing to me. And so I feel like it's a really good habit and practice to have a set aside amount. For our family, it's $50 for me and $50 for Chris each month for us to just have as spending money. And we can use that money however we want to. There's no strings attached. It's not going into a particular budget category. It's just put this in your wallet, put this in your purse, and whenever you find something you want to spend money on, spend money on it. And it also gives us sort of a cap. So I'm not out at the thrift store spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month, because that would not be wise. But I am able to go and do fun things that I enjoy doing on a regular basis with this extra spending money. And so I don't think that it is anti-conservative values, anti-Christian, whatever else anybody might put in that blank. I don't think there's anything wrong with us enjoying life and enjoying the money that we have and enjoying the money that we have been given, as long as all of the other necessities are paid for, and there's some money in our finances to allow us to do those things, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I really, on the contrary, think it's wrong to be so concerned about pinching every penny that you don't enjoy the life that you have. And so whatever your thing is that you like to do, whatever it is that you think is like your self-care thing, your joy-bringing activity, then I hope that you are able to do that. And I think that it's really important for us to find money in the budget to be able to do that regularly. So if you have any other questions, I would love to hear those. Just leave those in the comments and I will answer them as quickly as I can. I really enjoyed spending the afternoon with you. I enjoy giving you these videos because it helps me to be more consistent about the way that I spend money. Thank you for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful week. I love you, and I will see you again next time.